The Walking Dead universe is packed with secrets, unanswered questions, and fan theories that really make you think twice about what's really going on beneath the surface. From tangled family drama to mind-bending conspiracies, some ideas challenge everything we thought we knew. Let's kick things off by diving into one of the most emotionally charged mysteries about a key character's true parentage and the complex ties that bind this post-apocalyptic family. Judith Grimes is not Rick's biological daughter. Judith Grimes being Rick's biological daughter? That's actually not true. The timeline around Lori's pregnancy makes it clear. Rick was in a coma for weeks after being shot, and during that period, Lori was involved with Shane. So biologically speaking, Shane is Judith's father. Before you brush this off as fan theory, the show itself openly confirms this. Shane never hesitates to claim his connection, and the tension between Rick and Shane about Lori's pregnancy drives some of the most intense early drama. The TV series doesn't shy away from that awkward truth, using it to deepen the character conflict. Robert Kirkman, the creator, has explicitly stated Shane is Judith's biological father. That's not ambiguity or mystery, it's deliberate. And the story uses that to explore a bigger idea. Family isn't just about blood, it's about who raises, protects, and loves you. Judith stands as a symbol bridging Shane's ruthless survival instinct and Rick's determined hope. Seeing Judith this way flips Rick's role. He's not dad by DNA, but by choice and commitment. That makes Rick's journey as a father much richer, grounded in love and responsibility in a cruel world rather than biology. There's no canon doubt here, which shifts the focus from trivia to something emotional. What really makes a family when everything else is collapsing? If you think the family drama here is intense, wait until we dig into the theory that Rick Grimes might still be trapped in a coma. Rick Grimes is still in a coma. Right from the very first scene, the show hints that none of this might be real. Rick wakes up alone in a nearly empty hospital, a world turned upside down. That moment raises the question, what if all the apocalypse chaos is just a coma hallucination playing out inside Rick's mind? Before you dismiss it, hear me out. Rick's survival is borderline impossible. How does he dodge death repeatedly? Gunshot wounds, brutal fights, and walker hordes that would kill anyone else. Fans point to his hallucinations, seeing Lori, Shane, and ghosts, as signs the line between real and imagined is razor thin. His mental fragility and the strange, surreal story arcs feel like the show is one man's nightmare, unfolding inside his head. But here's the kicker. The creator Robert Kirkman has outright denied that the whole show is just a coma dream. He tweeted that Rick is definitely awake, shutting down the strict "it was all a dream" theory. Still, Kirkman hasn't ruled out softer ideas, like Rick's hospital time somehow giving him immunity or superhuman luck, explaining his weird survival streak. Here's where it gets interesting. Even if Rick really woke up, the coma theory works as a powerful metaphor for the show's psychological horror, the blurred line between reality and delusion, trauma and survival. It turns the world-ending apocalypse into a deeply personal mental landscape, where every walker and community reflects Rick's fractured mind processing loss and responsibility. This obviously shrinks the sprawling world to one man's consciousness, and sidelines the vast global collapse and other survivors. But despite creator denials, the coma lens persists as a symbolic frame, how trauma traps someone in a waking nightmare of guilt and fear. If you think that's dark, wait until you hear how Fear the Walking Dead ties into Rick's story, and might rewrite everything about the outbreak's origins. Fear the Walking Dead is an elaborate prequel to Rick's story. Fear the Walking Dead isn't just a spin-off. It acts as the missing prologue to Rick Grimes' journey. It dives into the earliest chaos of the virus outbreak, running parallel to Rick's coma in Georgia. While Rick is unconscious, Madison Clark's family battles the crumbling urban nightmare of Los Angeles, a sharp contrast to the rural story in the main series. Before you dismiss it, hear me out. The first 3 seasons cover those critical first 2 months after Day 1, the trials, exactly the period Rick sleeps through. Fear shows cities falling apart, quarantines failing, military crackdowns, and society collapsing before Rick even wakes up. It fills in what The Walking Dead skips: government breakdowns, mass panic, and families caught in the gears of a dying world. Madison and her family represent the initial struggle to survive, while society still tries, and fails, to hold itself together. Plus, crossover characters like Morgan and Dwight connect the two shows, proving they're one continuous story seen from different angles. Here's where it gets interesting. Rick isn't the apocalypse's start, but a man waking in the middle of it. His story changes from the man who wakes into the end of the world to one survivor among many facing a catastrophe already deep in motion. But here's the kicker. Fans argue if Fear was truly meant as Rick's prequel or just a parallel storyline expanding the universe. The show's tonal shifts and time jumps only add to the debate. Still, on the timeline level, it's clear. Fear covers the outbreak's missing early days and sets the stage for the challenges Rick will face. If you think locking down Fear's timeline is wild, wait until we get into the Whisperers, who might not be what they seem. The Whisperers were just hallucinations. The Whisperers are some of the creepiest enemies in the Walking Dead universe, living among the dead, wearing walker skins, whispering in the dark. But here's the twist. What if they're not entirely real? Before you roll your eyes, hear me out. The characters' trauma and paranoia sometimes make them see things that aren't there, blurring the line between threats and hallucinations. Officially, the Whisperers are a brutal human tribe led by Alpha and Beta, who use walker masks to survive. They hunt and wage war with survivors. But the show's style leans heavily into horror tropes that evoke hallucinations, quick glimpses, whispers that might be imagined, and surreal scenes like nightmares. This isn't just for atmosphere. It echoes the fractured minds of traumatized survivors. Characters who have lost everything and live in constant danger become hypervigilant, prone to seeing figures in shadows or hearing phantom voices. It's easy to imagine some whisperer sightings or minds misinterpreting walker variants, those stronger undead who can climb or use simple tools. These variants already blur the line between walker and human. So, erect mind-spotting shadows might assign menace where none exists. Here's where it gets weirder. Comics and show canon confirm the Whisperers exist as a human group. There's no canon denial, so this doesn't scrap the whole story. Instead, it suggests a soft reading. Whisperers are both real and symbolic, embodying survivor trauma made flesh. They blur life and death, sanity and madness, friend and foe. This psychological angle deepens the horror. The Whisperers aren't just cultists. They're fear itself, a mirror of broken apocalypse minds. The truth likely lies between literal and metaphorical. If the idea of dead people whispering in shadows haunts you, you're not alone. But if you think the Whisperers are creepy, wait until you hear about Old Man Carl being the ultimate narrator. Old Man Carl is the ultimate narrator. Here's the thing. The Walking Dead comic series ends with a massive time jump, about 25 years after Rick Grimes' death. Suddenly, we're following an older Carl Grimes living in a world where walkers are almost a distant memory, where civilization has stabilized, and the apocalypse feels like history fading into myth. This isn't just a random epilogue. It strongly suggests that Carl becomes the ultimate storyteller of everything that happened, reflecting on his father's legacy and the brutal world they survived. Before you write this off as just a neat ending, hear me out. The comic never outright says Carl is the narrator, but the whole vibe screams memoir or oral history. Carl isn't just recounting cold facts. He's mythologizing the apocalypse. He filters events through trauma, memory, and his own emotional lens. The people we see, Rick, Michonne, Negan, get complex, sometimes exaggerated portraits shaped more by Carl's evolving perspective than by objective reality. That's why some moments feel almost larger than life. This whole saga might be Carl's personal retelling for future generations, blending fact, memory, and legend. Game files or dialogue don't expressly label Carl as the chronicler, but the narrative framing of issue 193. The sudden leap, the reflective tone, and Carl teaching his daughter about the old world makes the theory compelling and canon strong for comics. Now, the TV show complicates matters by killing Carl off early, so direct application feels iffy. Still, fans speculate that other characters like Judith or RJ might take on analogous narrator roles in the show's universe, framing the story for audiences in a similar way. It opens up fascinating possibilities for understanding the saga as a passed-down tale rather than a single unfiltered timeline of events. Here's where it gets weird. This meta approach invites us to think about The Walking Dead not just as a zombie survival story, but as a meditation on how trauma shapes myth and how history itself can be a subjective act of storytelling. If we accept Carl as the ultimate narrator, Continuity inconsistencies and larger-than-life characters start making more sense as natural distortions in memory, not mistakes or contradictions. But if you think that's a mindbender, wait until you hear about the walkers potentially evolving on their own. The walkers are gradually evolving intelligence. Walkers have never been just mindless, shambling corpses. From the very first season, there were bizarre moments that broke the usual mold, like that walker using a rock to smash a glass door or fumbling with doorknobs. These early anomalies hinted that some undead might possess rudimentary problem-solving skills, not just raw hunger. Fans noticed, but for years, the show's mostly stuck to the classic dumb zombie trope. Then, the later seasons and spin-offs introduced variants. Walkers that climb ladders, move with surprising agility, and even coordinate in small ways. These aren't your average shamblers. They can open doors, navigate obstacles, and occasionally wield crude tools. The existence of variants was a game changer, confirming canon support for walkers with elevated physical and cognitive abilities. This shift forces survivors, and us, to rethink the very nature of the undead threat. Here's the thing. Why are these variants appearing at all? One leading theory is that the virus itself is mutating over time. The wildfire pathogen might be evolving, producing different behavioral profiles in the infected. Another chilling possibility involves the CRM. This shadowy organization is known for human experiments and manipulation, but hasn't been linked explicitly to engineering smarter walkers. Still, their secretive research raises questions about possible unintended consequences affecting the undead. Either way, the undead might be crawling towards something closer to semi-consciousness. This turns familiar horror on its head. If walkers are learning or evolving, survivors can't rely on old strategies rooted in predictable stupidity. The stakes escalate. Suddenly, walkers start to feel less like monsters and more like altered beings, trapped somewhere between life and death, with faint flickers of awareness. Ethically, this raises gnarly questions. Are these just things to be destroyed, or is there a shadow of personhood left inside? While the franchise hasn't fully committed to walkers becoming fully intelligent, the evidence of variants keeps the door open. It's more than fan wishful thinking. The show and comics deliberately complicate the undead's threat. Smarter walkers mean the apocalypse is a moving target, something that's not just ending humanity, but transforming it in grotesque new ways. At least, walkers are evolving on their own. Not quite masterminds yet, but if you think that's unsettling, wait until you hear about the CRM's role in possibly creating this evolving nightmare. The CRM engineered the zombie outbreak. The Civic Republic Military, or CRM, isn't just another shadowy faction in the Walking Dead universe. They're basically the franchise's secret puppet masters with some seriously next-level tech and zero qualms about mass murder. Before you dismiss this as just another bad guy group, hear me out. The CRM runs something called Project Votus, which involves testing reanimation on live subjects. Yeah, actual living people are being sacrificed to study how the dead rise and presumably how to control or exploit that process. At first glance, this sounds like standard dystopian evil government stuff, but the details get darker. The CRM has a track record of wiping out entire settlements, like the campus colony in Omaha, using specially designed chemical weapons. Their logic? Sacrifice whole populations to safeguard their own twisted idea of the future. That level of cold, calculated cruelty suggests they don't just react to the outbreak, they weaponize it. So here's the wild pitch. What if the CRM actually caused, or at least accelerated, the zombie apocalypse? The theory goes that the wildfire virus wasn't some spontaneous natural disaster, but a bioweapon experiment gone catastrophically wrong, or worse, intentionally unleashed. Remember those hints dropped in World Beyond and associated material about French biolabs getting overrun before the US was hit? Add in the CRM's ruthless scientific projects, and it suddenly looks like a global pandemic engineered in labs, with the CRM acting as both researcher and executioner. It's the kind of conspiracy that flips the apocalypse on its head, less a freak natural event, more the consequence of human hubris and secret agendas. The CRM's moral ambiguity fits like a glove with this theory. Their scientific curiosity and genocidal pragmatism combine to make them perfect creators of the wildfire virus nightmare. Of course, the evidence is mostly circumstantial. No canonical source flat out says the CRM engineered the outbreak. But their Project Votus experiments, mass killings, and military dominance paint a picture of an organization either culpable or deeply complicit. That ambiguity is exactly why this theory has stuck around so long. If you think this sounds like the worst kind of dark government plot twist, you're right. But it's nothing compared to what comes next. The idea that the wildfire virus itself might be an alien biological weapon. The wildfire virus is an alien biological weapon. Robert Kirkman once mentioned an extraterrestrial link to the zombie outbreak during early concept talks, but it was never meant to be literal canon, more like a thematic seed than a serious origin story. That zombie plague sent by aliens pitch didn't make it into the final Walking Dead universe, but it still haunts fan theories like a cosmic ghost. Cast members like Ross Marquand have joked about aliens causing the outbreak or wiping out humanity. Fans ran with this, turning the wildfire virus into an alien bioweapon engineered to infect all humans simultaneously. Here's the thing. This theory actually explains some weird edges of the wildfire virus. Why does the infection spread worldwide without any clear cause? Why do bodies reanimate the same way no matter how they died? The idea of a deliberately engineered weapon, biological tech from beyond Earth, fits better than a random natural outbreak. It adds a layer of cosmic horror, turning the apocalypse into a cold experiment by unknown alien forces. Humans become collateral damage in an interstellar biowarfare plan. Some fans mix this alien theory with canonical hints about French biochemistry labs connected to the virus's origins. The strange human hybrid creatures suggest scientists tampered with something alien, sparking the outbreak accidentally or deliberately. This blurs the line between human error and alien design, making the story even weirder. But here's where it gets weird. There is zero canon evidence to back the alien bioweapon idea. Nothing in the comics or TV shows confirms aliens had anything to do with it. The strongest proof is meta. Kirkman's early chats cast jokes and the appeal of unknowable cosmic evil behind the apocalypse. That lack of hard proof means the alien virus theory is mostly fan speculation and inside jokes. Yet it sticks around because it adds a scale of horror and mystery few theories reach. It expands the Walking Dead universe beyond a typical virus story to something Lovecraftian, where the enemy is unknowable, unstoppable, and indifferent. Compared to grounded human stories and military plots, this zooms out into a cosmic conspiracy we can't grasp. The infection isn't just a virus or weapon, it's a symbol of ultimate alien incomprehensibility, reminding us some horrors are so vast, survival might be just an illusion. If you think that's wild, wait until you hear the theory linking The Walking Dead to Breaking Bad, and blue meth as the apocalypse trigger, the Breaking Bad shared universe theory. This is easily the wildest, most cosmic theory connecting The Walking Dead to another AMC icon, Breaking Bad. On the surface, it sounds absurd, a chemistry teacher turned meth kingpin causing a zombie apocalypse, but hear me out, because there's actually a surprising thread of Easter eggs and meta-narrative nods that fuel this conspiracy. First, the blue meth. Walter White's signature product is that unmistakably bright blue crystal meth, known for its purity and color. Now look for any scene in The Walking Dead with a similar suspicious blue substance. Yep, at least one episode shows a baggie of blue meth in the background, so close it could make Jesse Pinkman do a double take. Then there's the red Dodge Challenger cameo, essentially Walter's iconic car repurposed as a spooky hint at Breaking Bad's universe. Add to that a story from Daryl referencing a drug dealer who sounds a lot like Jesse Pinkman. Tough, but with a conscience. Always running from his past. These breadcrumbs gave rise to the idea that Walter's blue meth somehow had neurological side effects severe enough to trigger or accelerate the Walker virus outbreak. The theory claims Walter's chemically pure blue meth caused massive neurological damage, either as a toxin or pathogen carrier, turning addicts and nearby communities into the first wave of the apocalypse. From a narrative standpoint, it's a mad genius origin story. Breaking Bad's meth wouldn't just wreck families through addiction, it would literally end civilization. One man's hubris sparking global disaster. But here's where it gets weird and meta. The creators of both shows, plus the cast, mostly treat this theory as playful banter rather than official canon. Robert Kirkman and Walking Dead showrunners have laughed it off, calling the blue meth sightings network Easter eggs, nods to AMC's catalog, not story clues. Vince Gilligan and the Breaking Bad team poke fun at it too during panels and interviews, but never confirm any real connection beyond shared wink-wink humor. In fact, an alternate take is Breaking Bad doesn't share a literal universe with The Walking Dead at all. Instead, Breaking Bad might be a TV show within The Walking Dead world's reality. So characters in TWD mention Breaking Bad like we do. Maybe that meth dealer dyes his product blue because of the show, or the red Challenger is just a common car, not Walt's exact ride. This keeps the line between realities clear, letting fans enjoy cross-network Easter eggs without messing with canon. If this were literally true, it would completely flip The Walking Dead's core mystery. Instead of a natural virus or secret bioweapon, the entire apocalypse would come down to one chemistry teacher's blue meth experiments gone catastrophically wrong. Breaking Bad becomes the dark origin story, casting Walter White as the accidental architect of humanity's collapse rather than just a criminal anti-hero. Despite official denial, the theory stays wildly popular because it lives in that metatextual space where fandom meets cross-network conspiracy. It blurs fiction boundaries and sparks cosmic multiverse speculation, making viewers wonder how much their favorite shows might secretly connect behind the scenes. Its storytelling is playground, turning showrunner Easter eggs into full-blown fan mythology. So, while there's zero canon proof Walter White's meth caused the Walker outbreak, those blue meth Easter eggs and crossovers keep this theory alive as the zaniest, most entertaining what-if in Walking Dead lore. And honestly, in a series about survival against impossible odds, what's crazier than fictional universes colliding with a chemical epidemic? If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.